A part of downtown Charleston that's already changing. It's getting a closer look at what's coming next. Hundreds of new affordable homes planned for the West Side. City leaders plan to discuss that project 3500 at a community meeting tomorrow. That plan calls for 3,500 units citywide by the year 2032, with more than 600 slated for the West Side. Live 5's Maya Brown has been digging into what that can mean for longtime residents and new neighbors.
The West Side is in line for hundreds of new affordable housing units. On the peninsula, the WestEdge site, currently used as parking for MUSC, is expected to bring 500 new affordable units. And on the other side of the West Side, the city plans to expand Gadsden Green, adding 103 more affordable homes by 2030. When this project was first introduced, it sparked familiar fears: displacement, lack of transparency, and longtime neighbors being left behind. But city officials say the goal is growth without displacement. Part of their goal is to rebuild public housing while keeping current residents in place.
As one of the historic housing communities on the peninsula, it's really important to keep that piece of history and the people. I mean, a huge part of history is the people. And so we want to make sure that those who live at Gadsden Green are given the opportunity to continue to live there. And the city has assured us that that is the case.
Some of those concerns are still on the table, but city leaders say this is only the starting point, and they're promising no displacement and say the community will have a voice as plans move forward.
They're building buildings that are at the same scale, that have a lot of the same aesthetic features, that are pedestrian oriented, that connect to the historic communities in a seamless way, visually and functionally. It's very exciting.
And now the city plans to walk Westside residents through what this housing overhaul could mean, from replacing aging public housing to protections for current tenants, and how transparent the process will be. The community meeting will be on Thursday, May 28th at 6:30 p.m. at the Burke High School Auditorium. For Live 5 News, Maya Brown.